Hi there. Hey, everyone.
Welcome to Chick Chat.
This is Chick Chat. My name is Anne.
And I'm Brooke.
And we met about over a decade ago.
A whole decade.
And we's best friends.
Yes.
And we decided to make this podcast because our conversations are too lit to keep to ourselves.
Yes. We like to talk about reality TV. We like to go over episode by episode on the phone together. So we thought we might as well record it.
And maybe over time you'll get to know us a little bit too on top of it. Maybe some cool stories or some funny things here and there. Keep it all nice, light, and fun. But we've just come across some issues sometimes finding content for reality TV shows that we watch, and we just thought it'd be fun to maybe make a platform where people who maybe watch the same shows that we watch that want to hear commentary can come and just kind of have a fun time for about 20-30 minutes tops, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, lots of reality TV. We like Match Me Abroad, so we're gonna start with that one. But we've also been watching Teen Mom for probably the whole decade that we've been friends.
Yes.
We like the Kardashians. What else do we like to watch?
We like Ultimatum. We like Love is Blind, like some of the classics.
All the Netflix shows.
Yes, which there is a lot of content versus a lot of the shows we've mentioned. But we also like things like, oh, you watch Plathville. I watch Sister Wives.
Plathville, I think, is coming back out soon, so that'll be a good one for us to cover here on our channel.
We like Love on the Spectrum. I mean, there's just so many shows that even just like that just don't get enough credit. And the big one that we really love is Match Me Abroad, and we just fell in love with it. It just came out probably about a couple months ago. It just finished, but we wanted to go back and review each episode because there just really wasn't like a lot of content creators covering it. It was kind of limited.
So we hope that you guys will follow along and watch if you also enjoyed watching the season. If you haven't seen it already, all of it's out, so it's a good binge. I think there's 12 episodes altogether. They're all out. They're on TLC or 13 episodes.
And it's all on Discovery Plus or TLC or whichever you watch. But yeah, so we're just going to get right into it.
Yes. We're introduced to 3 people this episode. So, and then we're also introduced to the 3 matchmakers that each of them have.
The first person that they introduce us to officially is Susan, who is in her early 50s. I don't remember if she was 50 or 52.
She's 50.
Okay, yeah, she's 50. She lives in New York, and she obviously has quite a bit of cash because she works for a hedge fund. So
yeah, she doesn't like the work, but she likes the paycheck.
I was like, that was relatable. Yeah, so then Susan kind of goes into like her life, you know, like she's got her dog.
The dog's name is Calliope, but she calls the dog Moo, which she really calls Moose. So you'll notice she will call this dog several things throughout the course of the episode, but most likely she will just call it her baby or her child.
And throughout its life, I'm sure it's had a lot of names.
I mean, as we can introduce this guy here.
Yeah,
so
mine's Prince. That is Prince. Yeah, he's kind of similar to Susan's dog.
He looks really similar to Calliope. I have a similar voice that I use for him, and Susan uses kind of a strange voice for her dog.
I use a very strange voice when I talk to my dog. Like I know that I'm not going to talk to my kids the way I talk to my dog because I don't want them to be stupid, but because I talk to my dog stupid.
That's what me and Tyler say. We have like this language, and sometimes we just use syllables, and I'm like, we can't talk to our kids that way. They're gonna go to preschool like only using one syllable words.
You know, anytime the word preschool is used, I'm going to throw that Ryan clip in.
Preschool, yeah.
Preschool.
I can't go to preschool.
I never went to preschool. I know, and look. And I was prepared for kindergarten. garden. They're different now.
So another thing we learn about Susan is she loves the finer things, which, I mean, you could tell from her apartment, but she gets her Botox. But she can't stand to look at any more dick pics. I thought
I know. That one struck me. I really feel like if I feel that way at 52, I might also move out of the country. So she's looking for somebody who is fun and sensitive and nice.
Mm-hmm.
No dick pics, no online dating. She's tired.
Mm-hmm. Unlike it seems like everybody else on the show, though, she has been to Colombia before.
20 years ago, which
well, but at least she has. I swear nobody else did any research besides maybe Harold, because Harold seemed like he said he did research. You know, right. He said, I was looking it up and I was looking this up. So, like, I think he did, like, a little bit of research, but, like, I still don't think any of them were prepared. But as you'll see in later episodes, a man we call Fake Chad, who is actually Mark, definitely did not do a lick of research.
Yeah, so Susan was in South America 20 years ago. And yes. It's my opinion that she's really chasing the person that she was then, because she says she had a lot of fun and her life was free. And you can tell she's kind of a little bit rigid now, sort of bogged down by life.
Oh, yeah.
Very stuck in her ways, as you would be living on your own for 50 years.
Well, also with that, I don't know if this was around the same time, but Susan also is divorced. She was married at 23 and she got divorced at 26.
Yes.
Because she starts out by saying, you know, I met this wonderful man a long time ago, and, you know, we had, I guess their careers put them into separate places. They were long distance and she would get lonely or whatever the case is, and that it just didn't work out. So, you know, she ended up getting divorced at 26 and she just hasn't been able to, like, have a real relation, like a long-term, I'm sure, relationship or be lucky in love or whatever since. So,
yeah,
which I love when shows like show you the photos, but then they always have to blur out the other person. So it's just like these throwback photos of just Susan, right. This blur man. So after Susan, we meet Juan, because they have to show her matchmaker, who is Juan, who is in Colombia. What was interesting, I don't know if you picked up on this, but when they show Juan, they show him writing notes on Susan, a notebook, and he writes his notes on Susan. Did you get what they were?
Oh, no.
I paused. It's one of those scenes where I'm like, they definitely recreated this for the show to show him doing, you know, like how they have to do those shots. And
you mean he's not actually sitting at the park writing?
He's not actually making this, because okay. So the list says smart, shy, well-traveled, and I'm right word for word, like well-traveled, knows a lot about a bunch of topics. That was it. That was Susan's list. Now, what you're going to catch on later, though, is that all the other matchmakers, when they are introduced, they are on their websites and they have a full profile of this person that they're working with. Like, I think Harold's person had like a whole computer screen up with her website and his profile. Yeah. The girl in Morocco, she had a tablet that was showing a bunch of things about Sonika. Like, she was like had a profile up. And Juan's there with this pen and pencil in the park.
And do you know what's even like it's more ironic is that Susan is the one that said, I reached out to several matchmakers and Juan responded to me with this in-depth questionnaire that really like made me drawn to him, and to know that he's just jotting down some BS in the
smart, shy, well-traveled, knows a lot about a lot of topics, which isn't that smart.
My other thing about Juan is he wants to like really change people, and I admire that, but I'm not sure that that's what people are hiring him to do. I think people want to just go on dates and pick people. And I think he really believes in like his process, as we'll see throughout the series. But he puts people sometimes on dates that
he's testing them. That's why he's my favorite. That's why Juan is my favorite, is because he's always like testing them mentally.
he's doing the right thing, but he's selling it as he's a matchmaker, and he's matching some of these people, as we'll see, the people who are like, is that a match, Juan, or are you just trying to make this person suffer?
So
Harold,
so
the star
Harold,
of the show.
we get to see him in his 2008 Fire shirt, and
do.
that's what immediately attracted me to Harold. I was like, okay, I haven't seen that shirt since I was in the 8th grade, and I want to know more about this man. But he immediately just grabs my heart because he says, you know, I have autism, and I'm like, oh, damn it. I was like, oh my God, now I'm just gonna be feeling a little bit protective over you because I have a sibling with autism I grew up in the house with, so it just was very close to home. And it's very similar to Harold's kind of autism because obviously it's a spectrum disorder, and you can land anywhere on that spectrum. You can be really high on the spectrum, you like Harold, like my sibling, like Holly Madison. Even Holly Madison says she's autistic as well. Or you can be really low on the spectrum, which, you know, it can go very low. It's just interesting, though, to see him on TV because, and when I see anybody really with autism who can actually go on TV and be comfortable, because a lot of them are very socially awkward and have a hard time being around groups of people, even just probably production. They don't know those people. They're coming in their house for the first time. It throws off whatever routine they had before. So it's not probably an easy thing to just all of a sudden be filming, you know, especially when you have sensory issues, you know, and everybody does to an extent, but when you have higher sensory issues and everything in your house, like, you know.
Yeah. I know, like you said, you can kind of feel like protective sometimes when people who live with autism or other disorders are on TV, especially when you have your family. But I think it also shows that somebody like Harold can go out and find love, hopefully. So that's also a cool thing to see, that people can get treatment and learn a lot of life skills and social skills and live a really fulfilling life.
So actually, I might see if he ever did. But yeah, so Harold comes in, and the only thing he says he's missing in his life is true love. He just moved out of his mom's house. He's in his 40s. And you got to remember, like, it does take a while for those kind of big changes to happen in somebody who has autism's life. But he's an artist. And actually, his art is very good.
It is. And he said when he was living at home, he was selling his art. I mean, it didn't sound like it was enough for him to sustain a living. So now he's a radiation protection technician, which sounds cool.
It does sound cool. I was like, I don't even know what that is.
I know. But yeah, it sounds cool. And he collects rocks. And he says his issue with dating has been, because you can see that he's kind of scrolling a little bit on his social media, going through like, this girl's a catfish, this girl, they don't talk anymore. So he says that American women are not very serious.
Yeah, or they're just not blunt, because to somebody with autism, you really have to tell them straight up, like, they don't read your facial expressions and your social cues and your body movements well. So you really have to be like, you know, I don't like this. Like, when it comes to my sibling, I have to always be like, I'm happy with that, or I'm not happy with that, or like, that's not okay, or that is okay, because he doesn't really know by looking. Like, I can't just look at him and just give him like a dirty look or something and him know that I'm upset. I have to actually say, like, that upset me. Like, I have to say it. So that's why I'm always super verbal with people, because I've always had to be very verbal with him, because you have to be blunt or they don't get it. You have to tell them what to do, or they don't understand. Like, they don't like read between the lines. There is none of that.
Right. So he thinks he's going to find that in a Czech woman. Also, he loves tall, sexy blondes. So he thinks he's going to find that there too, which I just thought was so precious. So then we get to meet his matchmaker. I'm Katerina.
She actually has an 80% success rate, which I don't know if they ever said Juan's success rate, but they said the other two success rate. But who knows one success rate, but
he's not as straight of a shooter, when it comes to matchmaking.
So what I like about Katarina is that she automatically, because Harold gives her like that motherly instinct, I thought that was actually like a really cute like thing. She's all like, I'm protected. I've automatically become protective over him and his suspenders. The staple of Harold is his suspenders.
Oh, yeah.
I'm obsessed
so we
with
have
them.
to introduce the suspenders.
The suspenders are their own thing. So Harold wears these suspenders. He's got all different kinds. He's got rulers. He's got all types. Like, I'm going to start writing down all the different kinds I see, but I know he's got more. The real key about Harold is that he holds the show up by his suspenders.
He does the entire show. He is the only one that we will see in every single episode.
Every single episode, right?
Carrying us through episodes 1 through 12.
Then we get to Stanika.
Who
we get to our third
we see like with a fake money dispenser coming out right now.
She was, and she's like in the selfie camera, and she's just dancing around. And at first, I'm like, okay. She does a photo booth,
and she's also a realtor.
Yes,
but yes, we also learn about Stanika that she has never been in a serious relationship, or really even any relationship, I think. Right?
Yeah, I'd say that's the most notable thing about her is that she's never been in a relationship. She says that she always gets friend zoned, and she believes she got friend zoned most of the time because she was overweight. Yeah. Because in 2016, she had a weight loss surgery.
Yes. Yeah, and she lost like over 100 pounds. So
yeah, it says she went from 283 to 187.
Yeah, and she looks good.
She looks
so when we meet her, she's shopping for clothes. And Stanika says that she was thinking of going to Morocco because she has a friend who's dating a Moroccan man who she says lays out the red carpet for her. And she's admiring that. So she's going to go to Morocco and find her a copy of that man.
Yeah, I would say that I know she didn't do any research either. Like, she's one of them that just didn't do any research, but at least she got inspired by something.
So then we get to meet Nina. She is the matchmaker in Morocco. She said that her specialty is to match Arab and American specifically because she was born and raised in New Jersey and her parents are Arab Americans. Arab and American or Arab Americans, I'm not sure. Although she's young, though, she's very successful in matchmaking. Apparently, she has 100% success rate. So we're going to see how she does with Stanika and some of the other people that come. So Stanika is still at the store.
Right? Okay, yeah. Okay.
At the clothing store, and she's she calls Nina and she wants to know like what kind of clothing that she should be buying, because this is when it hits me that nobody is probably like learning about where they're actually going, because as she's at the clothing store, it then becomes apparent to her that she doesn't know what type of clothes that she should even be buying. So then she calls her matchmaker and asks her like, what's the vibe? What's the culture? Like, what's going on here? And Nina is pretty like casual about it. She says, dress whatever makes you comfortable. And she tells her that it's pretty modern there.
Which is kind of weird because, like, we'll see later when it comes to somebody else, like, it seems like the rules were more there.
Yeah.
But maybe it's because it was a man going for women and it wasn't a woman going for men. I don't know if that's different in Morocco, but it seemed like it was a lot more relaxed for Stanika than it was for the other.
We have to find a way to insert this clip, especially because at this point comes the greatest point of the entire episode, if not the entire season, which is when Harold gets out of the damn car backwards.
You know what? when I first watched it, I didn't think anything of it for some reason. I don't know why. But then when I watched it on the rewatch, I had to watch that thing like 4 times. I was like
30, 40 times I watched it. And that's the only thing Tyler has watched, my fiance, out of this whole series. Was Harold exiting the car. And when I say backward, most people get out of their car, they turn themselves, and they stand up. Harold stayed in sitting position and like okay, so Harold gets out of the car backwards. And we learn that he's getting out of the car and he is at a lawyer's office.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he would like to figure out some information about a prenup.
Before ever meeting her.
Correct.
And this lawyer looks like Will Ferrell.
He's so cute though.
He was at first he's like, okay, a prenup, yeah. And then he's like, so, you know, you're gonna like who is I think he asked who it was or who is
he said, have you talked to her about this yet?
Oh yes. Have you talked to her about this yet? And then he says, well, I haven't met her yet. And then the lawyer he says, well, I've never actually ever been approached about a prenup before ever meeting the person. So he was very taken aback by that. He was very confused.
He was. So he told Harold that step one would be to find the woman and also to make a very detailed list of all of his assets.
And I think that was good of him to do. I think that it was good of him to kind of list it like that and be like, okay, well, we need to find the girl and then you can list all, because it at least gave him something else to do. He was worried about his inventions that he has recorded in his book. Mm-hmm. And he is also worried about just maybe his art, just other things that he's done. Things that maybe seem like really trivial and stuff to the normal person, but like, you know, to some people, even in general, like, you know, that kind of stuff. Like he says he's got millions of dollars worth of inventions in that book. So I don't know.
Then he proceeds to, this is my invention.
Yeah, and then
Harold.
So I'm like, dude, you gave up your good invention. I know. This is my invention.
You're trying to find a prenup for your wife you haven't even met yet. Here you are showing all your invention books.
On TLC. It was only one, I think, that he explained.
It was like a rain water collector suit type of thing.
I think he gave out a weak one, and I think he did that on purpose. He's like, well, I'll give you this one. But
yeah, he's testing us. He's testing the public to see if they're trustworthy.
He wants to make sure that nobody's... Yeah, it was a poncho. I have poncho invention right here. And I think it wasn't even like a collecting water. I think it was like a fast poncho, like how to put it on.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. So there might have been two that he showed, or maybe I'm just confusing them.
I don't know. It was something along the lines of weather gear.
He leaves the lawyer's office, and then we find Susan again, and she's back at home packing with her dog, having some wines.
I was gonna say a dog and a cocktail. She's packing. She's excited. She's talking to her dog. Her child.
Yes, in her little voice. And like, honestly, Susan, I hate to say this, especially in public, but she reminds me of me, like if I was 50 and, you know, just had a dog. Like I totally talk to Prince like that all day long. Like even just as we're walking throughout the house, like, come on. And he's a little bit like, it's just, yeah.
I was going to say that. Like if it didn't work out with Tyler, like that's you.
Totally. Yeah, you can catch me in New York, Italy with my dog.
So basically this scene is just her kind of like going to the airport, kind of getting to Colombia.
So that was a quick scene with Susan, and then we go back to Stanika for her birthday dinner. She's officially turning 32. And she has this really cute outfit on. Makes me feel happy for her little body journey. This is where she finally plans to tell her family, except for her cousin that was with her earlier, that she's actually going to Morocco to find a boyfriend. And it sounds like they're kind of pestering her about dating at the dinner. So it sounds like she's not even really dating that much. They aren't even aware of her dating that much. And then all of a sudden she says, like, I don't know why she did this in like the little sing-song thing, but she was like, it's time for me to settle down a little.
Settle down just a little.
Do you remember that? And she was like, so I'm gonna find some love in Morocco. And their faces were like,
Oh.
her mom said, why do you need to go to Morocco?
It was the song for me though.
Maybe she says things like that, like when she's nervous and she's is trying to say something she doesn't want to say. She like sings it.
I loved it.
It was good, but her family was super sus. They were asking about the matchmaker, what her credentials were, what she knows about Morocco. Her dad was like, they got really different cultures there. Do you know anything about that? And she didn't really seem to care or know anything or even give them any kind of reassurance. She was just like, I'm going to Morocco.
She didn't care. She didn't have no answers, but she didn't care about those answers. She was like,
not for a second. And she was going in like a couple of days, so
yeah,
her family's opinion did not matter.
No. I mean, she didn't tell them till last minute, probably for a reason, because she probably knew they were going to ask all these questions. And she was just like, I'm telling them on my birthday.
Asking all these questions.
I'm going to sing it to their face on TLC, and I'm going to Morocco.
Right? She's probably like, they can't kill me if it's on TV.
I mean, honestly, like, she's like, what do you think these cameras is here for? I'm going to Morocco.
Yeah, so that was really entertaining to watch because her family seemed the appropriate amount of concerned, but she was just very unbothered.
Unbothered. An unbothered queen.
So then in the final scene, we got Harold.
Mm-hmm.
He's at home. He's packing with his mom. And he makes his last call to Katerina.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to ask her. He wants to go over everything he's packed and make sure he's got everything. And then she says, take a lot of condoms.
Okay.
His response was like, literal, like
Yeah.
that. Like, oh, I didn't think about that. And she's like, I'm only kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
She repeated
That's why she had to say that. Like, she had to be like, I'm kidding. Because, like, he didn't know she was kidding. He was actually going to go get some condoms, probably.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. A bucket of them, because she said to bring one.
She's asking him, she's like, Harold, you have clothes from this decade? Like, you have new clothes, right?
And he doesn't. He says these are the same clothes that he's been wearing for the last 10 years. And then it pans over to his closet and he's got them all in like that plastic wrap. And he's on the phone with her and he's like, yes, they're the same clothes from the last 10 years, but I take care of them really well. And she's like, okay, we'll have to see.
But he does ask her one of the things he should bring. He's like, should I bring my rock collection? And so
she said, Harold, do you want to carry your rocks around? There's plenty of rocks here in the Czech Republic. And
that's basically it. That's basically it for the episode. Besides, they just show Stanika getting to Morocco. I mean, literally just getting there, and that's it.
But yeah, so then they give us like kind of a like 1.5 minute rest of the season intro, and it shows that there's going to be some more people that we get to meet.
Most of them get introduced the next episode, if not the episode after.
Yeah, I think Mark does, and at least one, if not both of the girls.
Mm-hmm. They seem to follow, though, Harold and Stanika just the longest. Because they're there from the first episode to the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them are there for most of the season, and then you'll kind of switch off to a different person. Like, a couple of them will kind of take turns about midway or so. Oh my God! I wonder if we can get his info so we can send him some suspenders.
Yeah,
we can put Chick Chat.
Would love that. Chick Chat,
and then we have like a little bird,
Yes,
with some coffee.
I love it. All right, Harold, you watch out for your mailbox.
Yes.
We'll be dropping a way to contact us soon. And if you're watching, Harold, you can send us your information and we'll custom make you some. Well, I think that concludes our first episode.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for sticking around with us if you watched the whole thing, and make sure to stay tuned for more. We should have episode 2 coming out.
Episode 1 is a little slow, but it's because we're getting introduced to everybody, so it is a little bit slow compared to the rest of the season.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys on the flip side. Bye.
Awkward.